Hello, I'm Domna Sidiropoulou, the Young Green Newsletter Chief Editor. On behalf of the Young Green Newsletter team, I have the pleasure to introduce to Young Green members and friends Mr. Peter Taylor. Peter Taylor is the author of two best-selling books on productive laziness, The Lazy Winner and The Lazy Project Manager. In the last 3 years, he has focused on writing and lecturing with over 200 presentations around the world in over 20 countries, and with 2 books out, including The Lazy Project Manager and The Project from Hell, Strategies from Project Sponsorship, Leading Successful PMOs, and the 36 Stratagems, a modern interpretation of the strategy classic, with a number of other book projects currently underway. He has been described as perhaps the most entertaining and inspiring speaker in the project management world today, and he acts as an independent consultant working with some of the major organizations in the world, coaching executives, PMO leaders, and project managers. His mission is to teach as many people as possible that it is achievable to work smarter and not harder. Dear Peter, we would like to welcome you and thank you for this interview.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Let's just start with a really interesting question, and please let us know, as an experienced management coach, can you explain how productive laziness can lead a young project manager from junior to senior?
Okay, of course. I think we have to start with what do I mean by lazy and productive laziness. So just to explain to people, I don't encourage people to sit around doing absolutely nothing. Obviously, that's a really bad thing. It's nice occasionally, but generally speaking, what I mean by productive laziness is, as you said, working smarter, not harder, being efficient, being effective in everything that you do. I uncovered when I worked for, I ran a very large PMO. I had over 100 project managers working for me, and I could identify 2 particular ways of people working. Some people, about half, were very, they were successful in being project managers, and they were doing a 40-hour week, a typical week. And the other half were being just as successful, but you could see that they were working 50 hours, 60 hours, 70 hours. They were working an awful lot more. And I think, you said from going from junior to senior project manager, you kind of almost have a choice. You can be successful by putting a lot of effort and a lot of hours in, and that may be fine. Personally, I don't feel it's very sustainable. You can't keep doing that. Or you can find the smart, efficient way of doing it. And I think that's the important thing for people to do, is to find the most effective way to do certain activities, particularly in project management. And one way of doing that, obviously, is to learn from other project managers and some project experience. And that really was the reason I wrote The Lazy Project Manager, was to share some of the insights from my own experience of 25 years of being a project manager.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for this. We've seen through your books, and we want to ask you for a secret to share with us. According to your best-selling project management publication, The Lazy Project Manager, can you share with us, the young friends and readers, the importance of reading the newsletters for a young project manager and their team?
Well, I think reading newsletters is all part and parcel of continuing your engagement with everything to do with project management. It kind of start with the fact that you are a project manager, you're probably in a project management team, so you can talk to your peers, your colleagues, etc. But the project management world is so large, so huge, and so many people, like myself and many others, are sharing their experience. And through things like newsletters, that experience can be given to other people. So I think, reading things, engaging in things, listening, learning is just something that every project manager should do, and certainly young project managers. I think it has great value for them. And you're not going to want to read every single bit of every single newsletter, of course, but look at the things that might be interesting to you, or different, or challenging, and follow those up.
Thank you for sharing that secret.
Okay.
Thank you. Leading to this successful PMOs, another interesting publication. Can you just share with us which are the key strengths of a young project manager to work with a PMO team, that contribute to the delivery of a successful project?
Of course, yes. So, Lead Successful PMOs is one of my favourite books I've written, having run 3 PMOs myself. And at the event, I'm doing a PMO workshop as well, so I'm really looking forward to that in Croatia. But for a young project manager's point of view, a PMO it should be a very, very good place to be, because one of the challenges to project managers in the past is they've been exposed, they haven't been supported, there's been no one to reference or talk to necessarily. It's busy, busy, busy. The demands of the project management world are hard and challenging. Well, the PMO should offer, I think, a very secure environment for young project managers to grow and to develop. And within that PMO, there should be a lot of reference points of how to go about doing good project management training, certification, methodology, frameworks of delivery, peer-to-peer reviews, coaching, mentoring support. I think a good PMO, should balance people and process in a very good way. And secondly, they should offer the green beans, the newbies, the young project managers of the world, a great opportunity to begin to experience and begin to take some ownership of project-based activity. So it's a great place to be. And if your organisation has a good, mature PMO, get yourself aligned to that PMO and go and explore all of the opportunities.
Thank you, Peter. And let's come to the near future. It's already known that you are leaving your topic chair to host the 27th IPMA World Congress in Croatia in September. You encourage not to attend though. How that can be delivered?
Well, that's a little bit like my sense of humour. So first of all, I am absolutely delighted to have been invited to be the host of the IPMA World Congress and to be also there for the young crew and to be delivering a workshop there. I set the challenge. So I go to an awful lot of conferences, and I can see the behaviour of some people. Some people just turn up and they kind of tick the box, I have been to the conference, and maybe they go and listen to a few of the presentations. I'm just challenging people. If you really want to get value from this conference, don't just attend. Don't just turn up. Turn up, listen, challenge. Everybody on the stage is probably an expert. I'm certain probably will be an expert, but it doesn't mean they're perfectly right. And they should all be open to you challenging them, asking them questions, trying to find out more. So I think my challenge to people is, if you're just turning up for the sake of turning up, don't bother turning up. Turn up, engage, really, challenge, discuss, talk to your peers, talk to the presenters, and you will get so much more from the conference than just turning up and having. I'm sure it's very nice to turn up and spend a few days in Croatia. It looks very, Dubrovnik is gorgeous, but you will get a lot more from the conference by just really being part of that conference.
Thank you for motivating our participants, Peter, once more.
I would also, can I just also ask, if people want to find out more, I have done a video which is on YouTube, which talks a lot more about my thoughts around the Congress. And it's had nearly 1,000 views already. So people can go and check that out. Just go and look for the Lazy Project Manager on YouTube, and you'll find my introduction to the IPMA World Congress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen that video already. Yes. Peter, attending the project management event of the year at Domna, the IPMA World Congress, with a unique opportunity for young project managers. How can this be applied according to your favorite motto, work smarter and not harder?
Well, I think it's kind of one of those things that can really accelerate. I go back to the world that the young project manager exists in. You will learn a lot, obviously, from the people you're working with, maybe inside a PMO, etc. But of course, the wider you talk to people, the bigger your network, the greater the value will be to you. Now, the conference itself, for example, is a wonderful opportunity to engage and meet a whole bunch of people that I'm sure will be useful to you in your future career. I've certainly found. I have a lot of contacts and connections on LinkedIn and other tools, etc. And I've always found that people are really willing and keen to share their knowledge and to help out when I have questions, and I try to do the same. Now, a conference is just a little kind of hothouse, a little opportunity to meet so many new people, to talk to them and learn from them immediately, but also to engage and connect with them for future reference. And I think it's a great opportunity for a young project manager.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience on this. Thank you with us. Can you just move on and what can be the key component in order to find balance and move forward the project management competencies for a young project manager?
Well, I think, it's all to do with everything we've spoken about. They have to find their secure place. One of the challenges to my generation of project managers is, I'm part of the generation that was the accidental project manager. I started doing project management an awful long time ago. I won't tell you how long ago, but it was a long time ago. And, I had no help. I had no guidance. I had no training. I didn't even know I was a project manager. Now, that was fine, and I survived, as many people did survive, and I eventually got training and certification, and, I moved on and upwards in the profession. These days, you could still do that probably, but the reality is that projects today are just so challenging, and the time pressures are so great, and the complexity of projects, and we have the virtualization of projects. It's not all done in one single location. That I think a young project manager, first of all, needs to have a very secure base. The kind of what I would talk is the finding the balance. So by finding a great community to work in, having the great support and the training, etc., it allows them to be secure in experimenting in the activity of project management, and from that point forward, they can really gain and kind of stretch their wings and experiment and learn a little bit on the job. But I think the two things come together there.
I think the young project managers will have the chance to attend a workshop with you on the Global Young Group workshop, right? On the weekend previous the Congress, I think.
Yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to that as well, and we will definitely have some fun as well.
That is great. And could you just share with us what is the best advice you would like to share with young project managers?
So the best advice, I think three things. I think the first thing, and I was very fortunate when I was a project manager, I found someone who was a great mentor or coach to me. They were very gentle in what they did, but every now and then they were always there for me to ask questions if I wanted to, and occasionally they'd come in and say, "Peter, why are you doing this? Are you sure that's the right thing to do?" So if a young project manager can find someone who they can just have as a reference point, it's not a lot of time for someone, it's just someone there who will give them advice, put them on the right track, answer their questions. I think the second thing is, going back to what you can do at the conference and beyond, is build the biggest possible network of people you possibly can. Don't constrain yourself to your own organisation, but go beyond that. Go to IPMA meetings around the world or wherever. Go to conferences, read books, blogs, podcasts. I have a podcast, The Lazy Project Manager, for example. Connect to people, build that network, and it will have great value to you in the future. And I think the third and final one is that act like a project manager and share your project management skills with others. I've certainly found value in taking it outside of my business activities. The thing, when I was doing my day job, if you like, project managing the projects I was supposed to be managing for the companies I work for, but I also offered my skills and experience to organisations outside of that. And that is truly valuable in doing that, because people value what you're doing, and you don't have to be the most mature or experienced project manager to help out in many many activities in your personal life, and you will learn and gain so much from that as well. So there's the three things, I think. Find yourself a mentor or someone you can reference. Build the biggest possible network of contacts for now and for the future, and be part of that. Be active as part of that network. And finally, share your knowledge and act like a project manager.
Peter, can you just tell us, how did you get to the work smarter and not harder motto, the background?
Well, I got to do it the hard way, and that's why I try and share some of my knowledge with people. The book, The Lazy Project Manager, it is, every chapter has a story where I got it completely wrong. I had an experience that wasn't good, and as a result of that, I learned a very important lesson. So I think, I'm trying to accelerate people's learning experience through sharing my knowledge, etc. I know many other project managers do the same. So it was a matter of experience, and I particularly remember at the end of one very large project that ran for nearly 3 years in the end. It's a very large project. And at the end of that, I thought, I kind of really enjoyed this. I like being a project manager. But when I look back, I saw I had working too many hours, I was working in the evenings, I was working at the weekends, I was taking phone calls and emails on holiday. I actually cancelled a holiday during that period as well. And I thought, well, this is good in general, but I can't do this for the next 20 years of my working life. This is not something I can keep doing. It would kill me. So I reflected at that point and thought, I must be doing something wrong. And I consciously did some real objective thinkings, and I identified ways I could be more efficient and things I didn't need to be involved in, things I did need to be involved in. So that's kind of how it came about. And then there's a great quote, which is, progress isn't made by wise men, it's made by lazy men trying to find easier ways to do something. It's from Robert Hyman. I found that quote and thought, that is it. That is working smarter, not harder.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you. Thank you for sharing the background, Peter. And let us know, did you ever have experienced a burnout?
Well, I think I described it. It was that project. It was that 3-year project. At the end of that, I was elated that we were successful. It was a real roller coaster of experience. At the end of it, I was just exhausted as well. And I really did think at that point in time, do I do something else? But there was that core in there that said, project management is just exciting. I don't think I can do the 9 to 5 job. I like the excitement, but that was just too much excitement. It's kind of like, I like the gentle roller coaster, but that big roller coaster at the big theme park, that was just too scary and too much for me. So how do I learn from that experience? Mm-hmm. So that was my point of almost burnout. But it was a great point in my working life as well, because I reflected and I learnt and I changed the way I behaved and I changed the way I managed projects from that point forward.
Mm-hmm. And the first step to get out of it for the young project managers would be applying with your motto always?
Yeah, well, I think the first thing you need to do is always give yourself the opportunity to step back and think and look at what you're doing. The challenge with project management is it's so easy to get carried away and to throw yourself at everything that's going on, to be involved in every meeting, to try and really force the project along. The smart project manager, the lazy project manager, will every now and then just step back, let the team get on for a period of time, and just reflect and think, okay, how's it going? What's good? What's bad? What needs to be corrected? And what do I need to be involved in? What don't I need to be involved in? I mean, probably the biggest learning experience for me in the early days was I just felt as a project manager I needed to be involved in everything, every meeting, every decision point, every conversation. And I didn't trust myself or my team enough to delegate to the project team. And the reality is the project team are the ones that are going to do the work. Your job as a project manager is just to oversee, to be where you need to be, when you need to be there, and to make sure things are progressing. So, biggest tip, every now and then, step back and reflect. Give yourself the opportunity to reflect on what's going well and what needs to be changed.
Thank you, Peter, for sharing all your experience and being here for us. Thank you a lot.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, absolute pleasure.
The Young Crew newsletter team is honored to host your interview, and here, Young Crew members and friends, Mr. Peter Taylor will be the host of the IPMA World Congress 2015 at Dubrovnik, Croatia on September. Work harder and not smarter. No. See you all at Dubrovnik.